Hi everyone, my name is Omar Suleiman from Objective Space, and in this video I want to give you a quick progress update and some info about Launchpad 1, our newest Launchpad. So here's Launchpad 1. It's a bit hard to see because of how big it is, but here's the base. And this was my first time doing anything real with wood, so I obviously didn't do the greatest job. There are some gaps in the base, as you can see. There's this big gap, and it's not the greatest, but it should do the job, and I'll improve it over time. But the basic premise is that it will have a flame trench down here. So inside, if I pop this open, and that right there, inside right here is going to be a pyramid sort of shape, made of steel, sheet metal, and that's going to divert the flame from the rocket motor outside these holes, and that's basically going to be what the flame trench is. And then so obviously, as you can see, we don't have that yet. There's nothing in there, but we will have the steel coming by tomorrow, and that will hopefully mean that it should be done quite soon. Over here, if you can see it, this is this is where the umbilical will connect, and it's gonna be a hold down thing. Not a very effective one, but it will be there. So essentially, a motor down here will pull it. It'll start turning, and then it'll pull this down, which will release the rocket. This IR sensor will detect it and stop the motor. So that's essentially basics of how that whole system is going to work. So regarding the launch controller and all the electronics, that's been going along well. Basically almost everything is done. MOSFET circuitry was tested out today. It should be all implemented into a perf board sometime soon. Right now it's all on a breadboard. The launch controller is going to include an RFID scanner to gain access, a key card reader, a go-no-go pole just to check some basic sensors and stuff like that, as well as a screen for countdown and some more things. The only thing is the go-no-go pole is turning out to be quite complicated, so I doubt it will be there for the first launch of Osprey, which is quite unfortunate, but at least we'll get a launch out soon. So the launch controller is just going to be a little 3D printed box. It's already made over there. Essentially, it's going to be connected to the Launchpad by a 32-foot ribbon cable, and that ribbon cable is going to be what's transferring all the information. So the Arduino will actually be in the launch controller, not on the Launchpad, just for safety and everything. And essentially, the only things that will be on the Launchpad will be the motor, the igniter, although the MOSFET circuitry might be on the launch controller, depending on if it affects it too much, as well as most likely the buzzer, just to make sure that people are staying away from the Launchpad rather than the launch controller, and a few other things. So it's a 10 wire ribbon cable, should be able to do the job. Hopefully we can finish the Launchpad soon, as well as Osprey. So quick intro to Osprey. Osprey is going to be our first rocket to launch, hopefully, and basically it's going to have a payload bay powered by 2 linear servos. So the linear servos are just going to pull out the payload fairing and then pull it back in. That's going to release the parachute as well as a small payload. So it's just to test out and teach us a bit about making payload fairings and releasing payloads. So that's what Osprey is going to do. It's going to be about a bit more than a foot high. We already have developed the payload fairing. We just need to make a few more changes to it, as well as most of the code. The flight computer for it is being worked on right now. So Osprey is nearing completion. Hopefully it'll be done soon. We have been delayed quite a lot, and we're going to continue to be delayed. but hopefully we can push out a launch as soon as possible. In terms of code, so initially the go no go poll was going to operate on a simple digital write and digital read, essentially meaning that the Arduino pin on the Launchpad would be transmitting high signals, and the as well as the rocket's flight computer, and they would both be reading each other as well. And it was going to operate on just a simple short high signal and a long high signal, but it didn't really turn out well, and I'm thinking that we're going to have to change it up because it's really complicated and really hard to time. So I think I'll be using some sort of maybe analog type thing, because there you have a much wider range of options. But as I said before, it won't be included in this launch just because it's so complicated, and I want to try to push out a launch as soon as possible. So I think that just about sums up today's update. I'm Omar from Objective Space, and I hope to see you next time.